Imagine being one of the greatest athletes in history and still waking up every morning to people telling you it's time to quit. That's the noise Novak Djokovic has been fighting all year. But now, someone who knows him better than almost anyone, Boris Becker, is stepping forward and telling the entire media world to back off. And his message is shaking the tennis community. Welcome back to the Net Rush Report. Let's get straight into it. Novak Djokovic hasn't lifted a Grand Slam trophy since the 2023 US Open, the moment he captured that historic and emotionally charged 24th major title. It was supposed to be the beginning of his victory lap, a late career chapter filled with calm, control, and maybe even the long-awaited 25th slam to stand alone in tennis history. But that's not the way the sport works. Tennis doesn't hand out fairy tale endings. And at 38 years old, Djokovic has been fighting not just his opponents, but also Father Time, and, more loudly, the constant chatter around his retirement. And with rising giants like Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner taking over the sport with explosive energy, every Djokovic loss becomes another round of, is this it for him? The debate has become so loud, so relentless, that Boris Becker finally stepped in, calling the media's obsession with Djokovic's decline a circus that needs to stop immediately. Becker didn't mince words. He reminded everyone that Djokovic, even in a so-called decline, reached all 4 Grand Slam semifinals this season. Let that sink in. At an age where most players can barely handle a full calendar, Djokovic is still one of the last 4 men standing in every major tournament. On top of that, he captured 2 titles this year. And still, critics act like he's crumbling. Becker's message is simple. Djokovic isn't done. Not even close. He emphasized that Djokovic has always been most dangerous when doubted, when people count him out, when analysts say younger players have finally passed him, when the crowds expect him to fall. That's when Djokovic becomes Djokovic. That's when he finds the extra gear no one else has. Becker said it openly. He has the skills to win his 25th title. And even if he doesn't, his hunger, his obsession with excellence, his commitment to competing at the highest level, those things are bigger than trophies. They inspire the entire tennis world. But the story doesn't end there. Becker's connection to Djokovic goes deeper than commentary, deeper than analysis. Becker knows what Djokovic is made of because he helped build that mental fortress. And one of his most emotional memories of Djokovic came in one of the darkest chapters of Becker's own life. In April 2022, Boris Becker was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison after being convicted on charges related to bankruptcy under the UK Insolvency Act. For a man who lived his entire life under stadium lights, surrounded by roaring crowds, stepping into a prison cell was a brutal fall from grace. But even behind bars, Becker found one thing that made him feel human again. Watching tennis, he watched the 2022 Wimbledon final between Novak Djokovic and Nick Kyrgios from prison. And the image he described is unforgettable. There he was, locked away, surrounded by strangers who barely knew who he was, watching the player he once coached fight on center court in one of the most electric finals in years. Djokovic lost the first set. Kyrgios was serving lights out, swaggering around the court with that chaotic, unpredictable fire he brings to every match. For a moment, even Becker wasn't sure Djokovic could turn it around. But then the shift came. The calm return, the relentless focus, the precision. Djokovic locked in, winning the next 3 sets 6-3, 6-4, 7-6. And when that final match point was won, Becker said he felt something he hadn't felt in months: hope. Right there in that prison room, watching the man he helped shape, Becker felt a surge of emotional release. Djokovic's victory wasn't just another trophy. It was a reminder of resilience, of second chances, of refusing to break even when the world wants you to. That's why Becker defends Djokovic so fiercely now. He's seen firsthand what makes the Serb who he is. He knows how Djokovic processes pressure, how he thrives on adversity, and how much he still loves the fight. Retirement? Becker wants everyone to stop the conversation entirely. He believes Djokovic deserves to chase that 25th slam without the constant buzz of doubt circling him. And whether that historic milestone comes at the Australian Open, Wimbledon, or not at all, Becker insists that Djokovic's presence still elevates the sport. He's not blocking the younger generation. He's pushing them to be bettered. As Djokovic continues his battle for that elusive 25th title, the noise will only get louder. But so will his resolve. Because if there's one thing we've learned over the years, it's this. When Djokovic is cornered, he doesn't retreat. He rises. Thanks for watching the Net Rush Report. If you enjoyed the story, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep tennis coverage. See you in the next one.